Well, starting up the 2017 Lexus RX 350, a vehicle that many of you have actually requested, and I am finally doing. I actually already did a Acura MDX video with about 120k miles. I think that's actually already up, so that's actually why I'm here at Anchor Auto Outlet to check out this RX 350 for you guys. So huge shout out to them, and let's just take this bad boy out for a spin and see what's what. And like I mentioned, Anchor Auto Outlet, all their information, their website, their number, all that stuff will be down in the description box below. They're actual genuine human beings here that actually care and try to sell you quality vehicles like this. So with that established, let's just go ahead. And this vehicle has about 58,000 miles on it. It's not a 100K special or anything like that. This is actually just a nice, clean RX that costs about 30K right now. An absolutely tremendous engine. Anyway, this vehicle, I actually, to be honest, the RX was actually a vehicle I didn't really care for. Not because like I thought it was a bad vehicle or anything like that. I just didn't really think it quite had like a, the swagger. After I saw this thing in person, dude, like the shapes, the geometries, like the little sharp angles going on with this thing. This is such a unique looking SUV, man. Like it truly does have its own special type of presence to it, and I absolutely love it. This paint job, by the way, is amazing. It's just like the things that you appreciate when you actually get closer to the vehicle instead of just seeing it out on the road, right? But even out on the road, like that big grille, man, despite what you might think, it does truly make a statement out on the road. Such an insanely smooth vehicle. I mean, it's only got like 58k miles, so it's just starting to get broken in, I guess, for a Lexus, right? There's just such a high level of solidity with this vehicle. Like when you open and close the door, it's just like a bank vault, essentially. It's something that you typically only see with like the German cars. This vehicle, dude, this is just sitting in here is like miles ahead of that Acura MDX, bro. That thing was like a 2014 that I reviewed. Yeah, dude, that thing does not hold a candle to this vehicle in terms of like the interior quality. I'll get to the interior in a bit because it is quite stupendous. Yeah, the quality of this car is in another stratosphere, bro. I can't believe, like, cars like this, nobody cares. It never gets any coverage. Primarily, I'm assuming because it doesn't do 0 to 60 in like 0.5 of a second or whatever. This thing is fitted with a 3.5 liter V6 engine. The standard 3.5 liter V6 that you pretty much see in all the Lexus vehicles. And it's a great motor. It's a one that I really, truly do like. Produces about 295 horsepower here and about 267 pounds-feet of torque. So very similar to that MDX. Again, that one also had a 3.5 liter, VTEC V6 with about 290 horsepower. This thing is about 194 inches long, weighs about 42 to 4,300 pounds. Many of you might think, when you see this engine that, it might not be enough to move it or whatever. To be honest, this thing only weighs about as much as the GS sedans and all that do that utilizes the exact same engine. Those huge sedans weigh about 4,000 pounds. So this thing has plenty of shove for everyday driving. And that's one of the things I really like about Lexus. It's just a nice, practical road car. There's everything about this, the capabilities of it, the refinement of it, the power of it, everything about it, it's calibrated perfectly for the street. And that's just something that, I don't know what it is, like car reviewers of the norm typically don't understand or get or really talk about. It's always about the lap times and the 0 to 60 and all that. And that's just pure nonsense out on the street because look at the speed limit here, 45 miles an hour. What do you expect me to do here? I mean, I'm still going to give it a little something. You have more than enough passing power with this thing. It is actually made to this 8-speed automatic transmission. There is an F Sport available. This is actually not the F Sport model. This is actually just a regular RX, and it's not the RX 350L either. Again, this thing is about 193 inches long, if I haven't mentioned that already. But the L is the one that you want to buy if you want the third row seating, essentially. But I find this to be an extremely practical vehicle as is. And again, I'll get to more of that a little bit later. But dude, just sitting in this vehicle, it's immediately just lowering my blood pressure. It is just such a serene vehicle to operate out on the road here. It's such a nice car, man. I didn't care for it much before, but now I absolutely get it, bro. I mean, admittedly, in 2016, this thing got redesigned, so it got way more spunkier in terms of the the design and all that, and they're trying to make it a little bit more engaging to drive. This is extremely comfortable because it has 18-inch wheels, of course. Typically, I said in the past that I prefer the F Sport for like the RC, for the IS and stuff like that. This RX, dude, I don't really care for the F Sport in this. I think this is perfectly adequate. Usually the F Sport looks cooler, but this looks very aggressive, very mean out on the road. Really fluid steering, man. I love this. I feel like, you know, the steering is something that many people mock with Lexus cars. Oh, it doesn't have enough feeling or whatever. Dude, like, this is such a natural, like, it's on the lighter side, the steering, but I absolutely love it. It's so delicate. It just adds to the fact that it's a non-fatiguing experience. You can just rack up the miles in this thing. It's a good thing because these things have good resale value, so you really can actually rack up the miles with this thing. The steering wheel size is like the perfect size. I do like that a lot. Gripping the, you know, bamboo wood here. This is the exact same wood I had in the GS 450H, which I also reviewed at the Anchor Auto Outlet dealership. And it's just truly just a nice, pleasurable experience. I'm getting a slight bit of road noise, but that's literally about it. It doesn't crash over the bumps or anything like that. Like, this is like some rougher roads here, and it is just soaking up the bumps extremely well. And that's part of the reason why I really appreciate these 18-inch wheels, actually. This thing actually utilizes a strut-based suspension up front, but it actually has a double wishbone in the rear end. So that is quite interesting, to be honest. You know, with all these idiots out on the road here, you know, I'm just not bothered by it. Like, this is just such a nice, relaxing drive-in. I can totally see why this is like the #1 selling vehicle. I mean, it's crazy how like the general public, they get it, but like some of these car reviewers just don't. It really just baffles me, actually. Yeah, I can see why this is the #1 for sure. Even compared to like the German vehicles, I mean, there's just this sense of quality that just exists with this vehicle that it's just really nice, man. And, you know, this 8-speed trans, you know, obviously Lexus was actually the pioneer for the 8-speed trans. Actually, it first came out with the LS 460, like the 07 one. And I remember, you know, obviously I owned the 08 LS, and that was a rather, you know, clumsy trans. But in this, it's super buttery smooth. You know, being this V6, not like some stupid 4-cylinder turbo thing. There's like this nice little rumble to the engine, actually. You know, it just sounds way better than some lame 4-cylinder. You know, those 4-cylinders, they typically have this little chatter to it. This one doesn't. It's just super refined in pretty much every regard. I will say though, this feels rather substantial. I mean, like, when you actually drive the thing, it actually feels like you're driving a pretty huge vehicle. And I mean, you are, but like, this actually feels like you're actually sitting up higher. And I feel like these are all good qualities that people actually want to see in SUVs. Like that MDX I was in, didn't quite feel like a huge vehicle. It's like rather easy to place on the road. This is, you know, you can get used to it, but it's just like you feel like you're in a bigger vehicle. It's still pretty easy to drive though, which is good. It is an 8-speed, so when you actually, like, you know, ask for more power, it has to jump down a lot more gears, which is an advantage that like a 6-speed typically has. A lot less gears to jump down when you ask for more power. There's a sport mode here, of course. Pretty much it'll drop you down a gear. That's about it. So it always like kind of puts you in the proper power band, essentially. And you know, despite all that, expect to see pretty good MPG out of this thing. You know, I'm so far getting about 20 MPG average, so not bad at all, honestly, for city driving. I think it's rated for about 28 on the highway, so pretty good for a large vehicle like this. Yeah, once you put in the sport mode, there's like far more like immediacy with the vehicle, of course, because it's just operating at a much lower gears. Yeah, I love the tone of these you know, Lexus V6s when it's just idling. It's just a nice, soothing tone. I really do appreciate it. It's just like the small, fine details that Lexus gets right. Check out some of this handling here. Builds up the power very nicely. It's definitely some potent speed right there for sure, no doubt. And the handling of this, definitely some roll, but very composed, actually. Very good chassis. This is definitely, it's not as dynamic as the MDX, but like it's still a very good SUV in terms of driving. It's like very satisfying to drive, if that makes sense. It's got some Michelin tires on it. There's really no real tire chirp, even in the sport mode here, actually. Just You wring out this engine. It's super satisfying. I feel like the Acura engines are a little bit more engaging to rev out because of that VTEC and all that good stuff, but this is still a lot of fun in its own right. Yeah, this is about as dynamic as you need this SUV to be, actually, and I do appreciate that, actually. This is all the capabilities and handling and all that stuff that you actually need out of this vehicle. So driving it, you know, classic Lexus, just very rewarding. There's no stupid strangeness with it. Even with this 58,000 miles, holding up extremely well. There's actually no creaks and rattles in here, and it's a good transition into the interior. So just take a gander at this interior space. Like, tell me that this is not one of the best interiors in the class, dude. Like, I love the color scheme of this particular one, of this particular vehicle, you know, with the beige, with this like reddish brown interior, with the bamboo wood. Just a truly fantastic, like this quad tone color scheme thing going on with the aluminum trim here. Really fantastic, man. It's just such an amazing place to spend time. And I said this about the GS 450h as well. Yeah, it's got a great chassis, so it pretty much isolates you from the speed pretty well. But yeah, anyway, the 450, I love the interior in that as well. And this is just, oh man, there's a lot more swoops in here, a lot more, you know, geometry essentially going on with this interior space. Really nice. I mean, you have to kind of like, you know, apply some pressure onto some of these panels to, you know, hear some type of creaking. But as a whole, though, this is a very solid space, and, you know, nobody's going to be putting any pressure on the interior panels anyway. So just the plushness of this cabin just aids it with the, in general, driving dynamics of it. It just, all of it combines into just lowering your blood pressure, essentially. You know, I just can't get over this this bamboo wood. That's very nice. The leather, I mean, I don't, you know, this is not like a real leather, but just the plushness of it. It continues onto the steering wheel as well, and the steering wheel looks amazing because it has like that brown kind of leather treatment with the wood. It's just a really nice thing to grip onto like on a daily basis. Auto one-touch windows for all 4 windows. Love to see that. You got the memory seats, of course. Nice little Lexus clock. You know, what's a Lexus interior without the clock, right? It's progressive brakes. You know, you won't be shot through the windshield when you get on them. That's good. That's, everything about it is like very normal, so that's great. You know, once you start, you know, fiddling with some of the controls here, you know, like the volume knob and tuning knobs and stuff like that, there's like a nice heft to it. All the climate control stuff is completely separated from the screen. I absolutely love that. You have heated and cooled seats in this particular one, of course. There is, you know, to be fair, quite a bit of buttons, but I forgive that because that's kind of what you want. As long as you get used to this vehicle and you know where everything is super easy to access, and it's just like there's no fiddling with anything or like a screen. Now, speaking of screen, there's a big boy in here, a 12.3 inch. It looks very good. I like the way it's set up. Some say it's like, you know, stuck up there like a tablet. This does not look like it's a tablet that's just stuck on to the dash here. It actually looks pretty good, and like the quality of the screen is very good as well. Now, I get it. Many people, they despise Lexus infotainments. I don't really see the point because this is not something you're going to be screwing with on a daily basis. You're going to pretty much you know, connect your phone to this, and that's about it. You're going to listen to the music, and that's about it. No Mark Levinson or anything like that in here, but it's a good sounding sound system, not too bad. Very crisp audio system, so pretty good there. But I absolutely do not mind the Lexus screen whatsoever. It's not something you're supposed to be screwing with when you drive anyway, so it's something that you can definitely live with and get used to. There is some lag with it. That's my only fault with the screen, but otherwise, it's a good infotainment as a whole, I feel like. Now, the rear seats, there's definitely a decent amount of space back there. I can easily fit for sure. There's not a lot of toe room, but like there's a decent amount of leg room back there, and obviously headroom is a non-issue in these SUVs, of course. Plethora of space in the trunk. You know, this particular one, it's not the L, so it doesn't have the, what do you call it, the third row or anything like that, but from a cargo perspective, there's just so much space in here that I feel like this is more than enough of a utilitarian vehicle for most people. If you need any more space than that, I would definitely suggest looking into into some U-Hauls or something, but this is pretty much like very much on par with the Acura MDX. It's pretty much the exact same amount of storage space and all that, except the MDX had a third row in there, but that was absolutely useless. You just leave that down and just utilize all the space. Now, you can get the L, and you could actually technically put down the third row and get even more space if you needed to, but I don't know, it's just not necessary. There is a spare tire back there as well, which I always appreciate. There isn't a whole lot of storage space though underneath the little trunk cover, mainly utilized for the the spare tires. So again, not a huge deal. But those back seats, so you kind of recline them a little bit. You kind of like move it up and forward and all that good stuff. So a little bit of adjustability there if you want to get even more comfortable. But this is just overall very serene space for you, the driver, and also the passengers. It's something that's going to be very non-fatiguing. You can take it out on long road trips and really enjoy the heck out of it. Really, cons to this driving experience, there's really not much I dislike about the way this thing drives. You know, like I mentioned, there's a bit of tire noise. I mean, everything has a bit of road noise. I mean, it's just not something you're going to be escaping, really. But as a whole, this is a very quiet cabin space, like a quality vehicle. It's got this nice bank vault feel to it, that sense of solidity. You know, you can like carry a family in here and be rest assured that this is a vehicle you can, you know, put your trust into, basically. You know, being a Lexus product, of course, the reliability is going to be great. Overall upkeep and maintenance is not going to be too bad either. You know, kind of like when I put my elbow on top of this center armrest thing here, you do get a bit of creaking going on here, but you know, it is what it is. You do have a lot of space in there though, which is great, and you have some nice cup holders here, a good amount of space inside of the, the door pocket. So those are all great things there. So as a whole, yeah, this is definitely one of the better ones, because this Lexus has this beautiful interior, and it's actually going to age really well. Like a lot of the German vehicles, when you get up to, you know, mileage similar to this, they just don't hold up as well. So this is without a doubt a vehicle to put on your short list for sure. If you're interested in this vehicle, it is located at Anchor Auto Outlet in Cary, Raleigh, North Carolina. So all their information, like I mentioned, will be down in the description box below. So with that, that pretty much concludes my review of the 2017 Lexus RX 350. Hope you enjoyed. And with that, take care and goodbye.